Welcome to Wayne Dalton's iDrive for Torsion Springs Garage Door Opener Installation Program. In this program, we'll demonstrate the general installation sequence for the iDrive Garage Door Opener. This iDrive model can only be installed on garage doors with torsion counterbalance systems. This instructional video will greatly assist you in having a better understanding of how to properly install your iDrive system. This presentation is not meant to be used as the sole instructional tool on the installation of the iDrive system, but in combination with your owner's manual. Prior to installation, it's recommended that you watch the video and then read the printed instructions to become familiar with all the working terminology, visual recognition of iDrive parts, and the location of various components. Be sure to pay close attention to all warning labels and important safety notices as described in the installation manual. Follow all instructions carefully to ensure proper installation of the iDrive system. When installing iDrive on a new door, make sure you follow the instructions included with the door first. Then follow the instructions included with iDrive. When installing iDrive on existing doors, simply follow the instructions included with iDrive. The Wayne Dalton iDrive system is only to be used on a properly installed multi-section garage door. Installation on an improperly balanced door could cause severe injury. Have a qualified service person make all repairs to door, cables, spring assemblies, and all other hardware in need of repair prior to installing the opener. Before installing the iDrive opener, make sure your door meets the requirements for an iDrive installation. Review the pre-installation inspection page on the first page of the iDrive manual. And follow these two important criteria. First, there must be at least 38 3/8 inches of clearance between the torsion springs and the cable drums. Second, there must be at least 4.5 inches mounting gear assembly. Locate both gear assemblies. Remove the bridge gear from the gear assembly. Place the main gear onto the torsion tube. Orient the bridge gear so that it can slide into position surrounding the torsion tube. Ensure that both pieces fit together properly. Secure the bridge gear to the main gear with the two 1/4 20 by 3/8 inch screws provided. Repeat this procedure with the second gear assembly. Slide the gear assemblies 19 inches apart. Lubricate both the right and left-hand gear assemblies with the grease provided. Apply grease along the torsion tube where the opener will mount. Opener mounting. Place the opener over the 1-inch torsion tube and between the two gear assemblies. Lift the opener slightly and slide the left-hand gear assembly over so that the left-hand drive gear meshes with the gear assembly. Repeat this procedure for right-hand gear assembly. With the gears and opener now in place, adjustments will need to be made to the right and left gear assemblies. Begin by tightening the 3/8 inch square head bolt on the left-hand gear assembly. Adjust the openers so that there is a minimum of 1/8 inch spacing between the opener and the left-hand gear assembly. Now adjust the right-hand gear assembly so that there is a minimum of 1/8 inch spacing between opener and the gear. Adjust the mounting bracket so it fits flush on the header. Tighten the 5/16 18 nuts on the threaded studs located on the bottom of the opener. Secure the mounting bracket to the mounting surface with two 5/16 inch by 1 5/8 inch lag screws. Pull on the disconnect cable and manually pivot the motor to the down position, then release the tension of the cable. Finally, plug the motor power cord into the opener. Attaching the loose disconnect cable. Attach the loose disconnect cable from the hardware kit to the opener disconnect cable using the S-hook provided. Close both ends of the S-hook to lock the assembly together. Next, thread the cable guide bracket onto the disconnect cable, making sure that the proper hole is used. For the 2 5/8 inch offset, use the hole closest to the flange. For the 3 3/8 inch offset, use the hole furthest from the flange. To determine which offset hole is needed for your door, measure the distance between the mounting surface and the torsion tube. Locate the flange of the cable guide bracket just inside the cable drum. Align the cable so that it remains parallel to the torsion tube. It's important to note that if the cable is not aligned parallel to the torsion tube, the disconnect operation will not function properly. Once the cable guide bracket is aligned, secure the bracket to the jamb using two 1/4 by 1 1/2 inch lag screws. Route the disconnect cable through the cable guide bracket, behind the counterbalance cable, and through a convenient hole or slot in the flag angle so that the cable hangs out of the track. The disconnect cable must be routed behind the counterbalance cable and must not rub against the counterbalance cable. Depending on the type of door the opener is being installed onto, it may be necessary to drill a hole in the right side flag angle for proper routing of the disconnect cable. With the disconnect cable now in place, the cable handle can be fitted onto the cable end. Mark a location on the right jamb 6 feet above the floor to mount the handle bracket. Align the top of the bracket with a mark. Fasten the bracket to the jamb with two 1/4 by 1 1/2 inch lag screws. Start the number 620 by 1/2 inch screw into the handle. Next, thread the disconnect cable through the top of the handle bracket and then the handle itself. Locate the handle in the full upper position of the handle bracket. Finally, remove all cable slack between the opener and the top of the handle bracket. Make sure to pull cable only enough to remove the cable slack. Pulling the cable more could cause the opener to disconnect from the torque tube. Tighten the number 620 by 1/2 inch screw into the handle until snug. Do an additional 1 to 1 1/2 turns to secure the cable to the handle. Trim off any excess cable from the bottom of the handle. Apply the emergency disconnect label next to the mounted bracket. Use mechanical fasteners if the label will not adhere with adhesive. Photoelectric safety sensors. Select a mounting position 5 inches above the floor to the center line of the wall mounting bracket. It is very important that both wall brackets be mounted at the same height for proper alignment. Using the 5/16 by 1 1/2 inch lag screws, mount the wall mounting bracket to the door jamb. Attach the U-bracket to the wall bracket with a 1/4 20 carriage bolt, washer, and nut. Insert the bolt from the inside of the U-bracket and hand tighten. Attach the sending and receiving units to the U-brackets by inserting their tabs into the respective holes. Repeat for the other side. Uncoil the wires from the photoelectric sensors and route them up against the garage wall and along the door header towards the right side of the opener. Route the wires behind the torque tube and tack them in place with insulated staples. To locate the terminal block for the infrared sensor's sender-receiver wires on the opener, you must first move the right-hand gear assembly to the right. Using a pair of needle-nose pliers, gently pull the terminal block from the right-hand side of the opener. Separate wire ends and strip about 1/2 inch of the insulation off each wire end. Use a flat-tip screwdriver to loosen the screw above hole number 1 of the terminal block. Then insert both sender and receiver solid white wires into hole number 1. Tighten the screws in hole number 1 to hold the wires in place. Repeat the process to secure the sender and receiver white with black stripe wires into hole number 2. After the wires are secured in the terminal block, snap the terminal block back in the right-hand side of the opener. Keep the sender and receiver wires straight and organized by wrapping them around the back side of the opener and securing them using the adhesive-backed cord clip. It's important to keep the sender-receiver wires away from moving components. Now adjust the right-hand gear assembly so that there is a minimum of 1/8 inch spacing between the opener and the gear. Tighten the 3/8 inch square head bolt. Next, we move to the wall station installation. Locate an area for the wall station within sight of the door and at a minimum height of 5 feet so that it is out of reach from small children. The wall station must be positioned clear of all moving parts of the garage door. If possible, install on wood framing. Using a 3/32 inch drill bit and the drilling template, drill the 2 mounting holes. Install the lower screw, leaving 3/16 inch of the threads exposed. Slide the wall station keyhole slot onto the lower screw. Once the wall station is fitted snugly on the lower screw, install the upper screw. Do not over-tighten. Next, remove the battery cover. Install 2 AAA batteries into the wall station, observing the polarity of both batteries, and reinstall the cover. After about 5 seconds, the up-down LEDs will begin to blink momentarily every 2.5 seconds. This is normal. Finish the installation by applying the entrapment label in a convenient location next to the wall station. Installing cable keepers. To begin our installation of the cable keepers, first push the spacer onto the roller shaft between the bottom bracket and roller. Use additional spacers if needed to achieve a 1/2 inch minimum clearance between the door and the vertical track. If there is less than a 1/2 inch clearance, loosen the lag screws attaching the track to the wall to provide additional clearance. After adjusting the vertical track for the 1/2 inch clearance, retighten the lag screws. Next, attach the right-hand cable keeper assembly to the bottom section, directly above the bottom bracket. Position the cable keeper assembly so that it hangs over the edge of the section by 1/8 of an inch. Also, make sure the cable keeper is no higher than 4.5 inches up from the bottom edge of the door to the bottom of the cable keeper. Fasten with 2 1/4 by 11/16 inch self-drilling screws. Wood doors will use 2 1/4 by 1 inch lag screws. It is recommended that wood doors be pre-drilled with a 1/8 inch pilot hole prior to fastening. Repeat this procedure for the other side. Once the cable keeper assemblies are secured to the section, place the plastic sleeve over the cable and then rotate the arm upward and attach it to the plastic sleeve. Repeat this procedure for the other side. Your next step is to install the light fixture. To reduce the risk of electrical shock, connect the light fixture only to a properly grounded 120-volt outlet. Do not use an extension cord or change the plug in any way. Disconnect the power to the receptacle before installing or removing the unit. Do not install the light fixture into a receptacle with a metal faceplate. The door must clear the light fixture when the door is in the up position. The light fixture is designed to mount directly to a standard 120-volt duplex receptacle. Disconnect power to the receptacle at the fuse breaker box before proceeding. To begin, locate a convenient duplex receptacle and remove the center screw in the receptacle cover. Holding the receptacle cover in place, insert the light fixture into the receptacle having the ground hole farthest from the center screw hole. Be careful, as the light kit may fall out of the receptacle. Secure the light fixture to the receptacle with a number 6 32 by 3/4 inch Phillips panhead screw and install the center hole plug. Screw a 75-watt maximum light bulb into the light socket and snap the diffuser into the light fixture. Turn the receptacle power back on at the fuse or breaker box. The light will blink one time when the power is re-established. Next, we connect power to the iDrive power head. Plug the female end of the power cord into the inlet connector on the back side of the opener. Push hard on the plug to make sure it's fully inserted into the power head. Then plug the other end of the opener power cord into the power receptacle. As soon as the power is applied to the opener power head, the unit will beep 2 times. To reduce the risk of an electrical shock, connect the power cord to a properly grounded 120-volt outlet. If the power cord is not long enough to reach the closest outlet, contact a service person for assistance. A power cord extender kit is available from your Wayne Dalton dealer. Excess power cord length must be routed and contained safely away from any moving members. Do not permanently attach the power cord to any part of the structure. Use only the flexible plastic clips supplied with the opener. To program the wall station, first pull the emergency disconnect handle to the manual door operated position. Next, press and release the red Program button on the front cover of the opener. The opener will beep once, indicating activation of the program mode. Next, press and hold the wall station light button until the opener beeps once. The wall station is now programmed. Return the emergency disconnect handle to the motor-operated position, which is the upper position. The motor may not drop when the disconnect handle is released from the manual position to the motor-operated position until the door operation is initiated. Program the light fixture. To program the light fixture, first press the red Program button on the light fixture. The LED on the light fixture and the incandescent lamp will turn on. Next, press the light button on the wall station. The light fixture lamp and LED will blink 3 times, indicating a successful programming operation. The light fixture will now respond to the opener and the wall station. Photoelectric safety sensor alignment. The safety sensors can be aligned by moving the sending and receiving units in or out as shown, until the alignment light on the receiving unit comes on. The 1/4 20-inch carriage bolt can be loosened to move the unit in or out as required. If you have difficulty aligning the infrared beams, check that both brackets are mounted at the same height and remount if necessary. Now that all general wiring is completed and accessories are programmed, you'll need to run your iDrive through a complete install routine. To begin this process, the emergency disconnect must be in the manual door operating position. First, manually raise the door to the full upward position. Next, manually lower the door to the full closed position, making sure you have complete freedom of movement. Detent Adjustment. The motor is designed to pivot down after the door closes completely. If the motor does not pivot or pivots too soon, the detent may need to be adjusted in order for the door lock feature to work properly. Before making any detent pin adjustments, be sure to check the door balance. The door should not raise off the floor with spring tension alone, nor should it free fall from any open position. Due to variations in door installations, a detent pin adjustment may need to be made with a flathead screwdriver for proper pivoting of the motor. If the motor does not pivot down or only pivots down partially, the detent pin is set too hard. Using a flathead screwdriver, turn the detent pin counterclockwise in 1/4 turn increments. Then operate the door to confirm the adjustment. Repeat the procedure until the motor pivots to the full down position. If the motor pivots down prematurely, or if the motor is slapping too aggressively against the top of the door, the detent pin is set too soft. Using a flathead screwdriver, turn the detent pin clockwise in 1/4 turn increments. Then operate the door to confirm the adjustment. Repeat this procedure until the motor pivots to full down position when the door is completely closed. Setting the lock. The opener has a built-in means of locking the door when in the fully closed position. The motor cover is designed to act as an obstruction to the door while in the down position. The lock ring and lock are assembled to the highest position. Unscrew the adjuster until it is 1 inch from the top of the door. Once the lock is set at the desired position, screw the lock ring down to the lock to prevent it from moving. Disconnect the opener and manually operate the door to confirm that the door clears the lock. Contact obstruction test. After installing the opener, the door must reverse when it contacts a 1 1/2 inch high object or a 2x4 board laid flat on the floor. To verify proper operation, activate the door to the fully open position. Next, place a 2x4 board laid flat on the garage floor under the door path. Then activate the door to the closed position. Upon contacting a solid object, the door will stop, then reverse direction within 2 seconds and travel to the full open position. If the door does not respond to the required tests, repeat the install routine, making sure the door is in the fully closed position prior to activation. If the problem persists, contact Wayne Dalton Customer Service at 888-827-3667. Before programming, ensure the radio antenna is fully extended upward at a 45-degree angle to obtain best radio reception. Before using a handheld transmitter, the user must activate the transmitter. Activation of the transmitter is only necessary at installation. To activate the transmitter, press and hold the large transmitter button. The transmitter's LED will blink rapidly. After 2 seconds, the LED will turn on continuously. Release the button. The transmitter is now ready to be programmed to the opener. To program the transmitter, begin by placing the emergency disconnect handle in the manual door-operated position. This is done for safety reasons. Next, press and release the red Program button on the front cover of the opener. The opener will beep once, indicating activation of the program mode. Then move the transmitter approximately 6 feet away from the opener. Press and hold the desired transmitter button until the opener beeps once. The transmitter is now programmed. Finally, return the emergency disconnect handle to the motor-operated position. Congratulations! The installation of your new Wayne Dalton iDrive system is now complete. Now take some time to look over your iDrive manual for any details that you may have missed. Finally, be sure to save your owner's manual for future use. Thank you for purchasing the Wayne Dalton iDrive system.